The companies who look for developing a true partnership or working relationship, they watch us very closely in terms of how we work with them. We in turn also watch them very closely through that first week of analysis to see are they heavily engaged to what we're finding, because their level of engagement lets us kind of gauge what it's going to be like during the course of the project. And if there's not a good fit there, then from our perspective, we're going to be very reluctant to put guarantees on the table because we don't want to walk into a relationship where the burden for change is too much on us. Rather, it needs to be evenly owned between our clients and us. Because once you have that, I think what we could get accomplished is pretty amazing. So when a client brings us in, I think one of the things they get really impressed with is the culture change, which they consider that, from their perspective, a lot of behavior changes that are taking place. What I mean by those behavior changes is before DB&A comes in, the ownership for problem solving and ownership for managing people has a tendency to get lodged at the higher levels. Sometimes at the plant manager level, in some cases even up to CEO level. And so we strip that down and say, wait a minute, these problems should be owned at the frontline management level. So what is that about the system? What is that about the metrics that you're using? What is it about how well the process is working in your operation that as a culture, the problems are getting delegated up into the organization versus the problems really being owned at the frontline management level? So when you fix that, frontline managers get highly engaged with their employees. They do better problem solving. And more importantly, there's a level of ownership and accountability that gets created that also drives sense of empowerment between those frontline managers and the employees to feel that they have the authority to do problem solving. And so from a culture point of view is that before we come in, there's a tendency for that frontline management level to identify problems and report it up. And when we're done with the project, the frontline managers begin to realize their responsibility is not only identify the problems with the employees, but fix it when it's happening. And so when at the higher level, when this change happens, is that they begin to see that their capacity opens up. They can start focusing on the longer term problems, not the day-to-day execution issues. And the real benefit they see out of DB&A change process is this ability to really tap into the frontline management's capacity to really drive accountability at that level, which then frees the upper management up to do more long-term planning events. There's more people who have the title of frontline managers, regardless of what you call them. And the problem becomes is that over time, those people have a tendency to be utilized to be their best workers and best problem solvers, not necessarily leaders and managers. And that's a crying shame because they could do a lot more. And what happens is that over time, organizations will put people in middle managers who have most experience or technically most capable, and in many cases, probably a really good problem solver as well. The problem becomes is that when you put those people into those positions and they don't realize how to get work done through their people, they design systems where all the information goes up to them and they got to solve all the problems. And that completely usurps authority away from those frontline managers. And so therefore they gravitate towards fulfilling what they think their leadership wants from them, which is chase problems. And then employees get neglected. And so when you fix that, it's amazing the kind of improvements they generate, right? I mean, we do that over and over again for every company we go into, regardless of industry. And that, for me, is pretty powerful. This is why I get so excited about our people, is they get that, right? And the people who've done this for a long time, and the reason they do this for such a long time is that when they make that transition happen with the clients, it is so rewarding.